Hey y'all, welcome back to Creative Chaos with Carrie. This is Carrie. In my September pre-pen flip through, I went to this section and said that it was a very special section to me and that I would go into more detail about it. So this is my video going into more detail about it. I do want to preface this with if I get emotional while talking about it, I'm not sorry. I don't think that we should have to apologize for our emotions or crying or anything like that. So I'm not sorry if I get emotional talking about this. So basically what this section is what I call my glimmers journaling. And what I look for every day is something that makes me smile, something that makes me happy, something someone said that made me smile, something like that. And I just go through and I try to find something every day. Sometimes I don't find anything, and that's okay. But on days where I am having a very hard day, or, feel very depressed, I go back and I look at these and, they help me get into a better mood. But with my husband passing away and my mom passing away 7 months later, it's very hard to not have those people in my life so close together. So I just try to find one thing every day that I can smile about. So obviously, this one right here is, I was working in the garden and I was amazed and so happy, and I thank the Lord for the carrots that had grown so well. I had a very good, very abundant, very large carrots that I was not expecting because all of my carrots previously have been very small. So that was one thing for this month. And then I just, go on and try and find one thing every day. So that is what this section is for. Obviously, I've covered some up that have, names and stuff in them that I don't really want to be seen over the internet. But that's what I try to do. Some days I have, a longer thing that I want to write. So I have bigger boxes there, smaller boxes. I do have enough for every day of the month. Like I said, sometimes I don't have one every single day, but there's some days that I have two. So I will write, 2 down for that day. And that's why I move them around and I don't just put them in sequential order, because I don't want to go back and be like, oh, well, I couldn't find anything on that day, it must have been a really horrible day, blah, 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 blah. So I just move them around. I don't want them in sequential order. And when I go back and look at them, like previous months and stuff like that, I feel like it helps me get into a better mood, feel better, But there's sometimes where I feel guilty for being happy, or guilty for having moments that, my husband and my mom aren't here to see. And I try to just push that aside and be like, they would want me to be happy. They would want me to have these happy moments. And so that is what this section is for. A lot of times when I have a hard time falling asleep, I will go back and look at these. And it pushes out, the memories that I don't really want. A lot of times when I lay down to fall asleep, my husband is in the hospital and, it's like him being on hospice and taking his last breaths and stuff like that. And it makes it really hard to go to sleep. So I focus on this and go back and read these so that it can help me, fall asleep on a better note and not just, lay there and go over things in my head over and over again. So that is what this section is. I call it my Glimmers Journal. And I try to find, one little glimmer, one little spark of joy, something that made me happy or made me smile every day. And then I like to write it down, and I do go back and reference these often. But I just wanted to share this special section of my journal and planner and all of that with all of you guys. So I hope you enjoyed and have a good day.